Hey guys, welcome back to another video on my channel. Today's content is a bit gory and graphic, so you might want to click away if you're sensitive to bloody content. Anyways, our topic today is my impressions on Resident Evil Village so far. Without further ado, let's hop into the video.
The truth.
For people who are not that familiar with the Resident Evil franchise, Resident Evil is a Japanese horror video game series and media franchise created by Capcom. It consists of survival horror, third-person shooter, and first-person shooter games. The franchise has expanded into a live-action film series, animated films, and much more. But we are going to talk about the game, Resident Evil Village, today in particular. First of all, the horror has been noticeably dialed down. Of course, there are still jump scares and the game is obviously decent.
You pieces
But the game's horror has been dialed down by Capcom because of its prequel.
Huh?
You may ask how it relates to the prequel, and now let me tell you about it. Some gamers of Resident Evil 7 thought Resident Evil 7 was too scary, so some reviews were pretty low. For that, they dialed down the horror. For me, Resident Evil 7's horror level was pretty acceptable. Hi!
Okay.
But Resident Evil Village's horror just doesn't seem to top its prequel. Secondly, it's action-packed. Resident Evil Village is a much more action-oriented game than 7. And players will often have to deal with multiple enemies at once. For example, you have to shoot several Lycans at the same time. Therefore, the arsenal in this game is also more diverse, and players can shop and upgrade weapons for the character Duke. And, in the first parts of the game, you'll first foray into the village. It is quiet and tense for a handful of minutes, before you're thrown into a combat encounter with a never-ending flow of enemies coming at you. Big-ticket weapons arrive sooner in this game, and with more ammunition. You must use your resources wisely and smartly whenever you encounter any massive odds you'll constantly face, and you must think fast on your feet. Lastly, how the story started is amazing. Resident Evil Village's story picks up several years after the events of Resident Evil 7. The last we saw of Ethan Winters and his wife Mia, they were rescued by Chris Redfield alongside the company of Blue Umbrella, an offshoot of the Umbrella Corporation that was responsible for incidents in past Resident Evil games. The story begins with a quiet evening at the Winters' home. As both Ethan and Mia settle in for dinner, gunshots ring in the dark, and we see Mia killed by Chris Redfield run in front of her husband. A group of armed men leads Ethan and his daughter Rosemary out, and after a brief flashback highlighting the troubles Mia and Ethan have, Ethan wakes to find the armed men dead and his daughter gone. Dazed and confused, Ethan walks away from the site, reaching the outskirts of the village. Alright guys, the video ends here. Did you like my video? If you did, be sure to subscribe to my channel and like this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye!